Roman Reigns has just laid down the Universal Championship. He's been forced to relinquish the title due to his injured shoulder, which was made worse by his match last week with Riddle. Riddle had the Kimura locked in towards the end of their title match, and it tore Reigns' rotator cuff. The Tribal Chief says he'll be back, but for now, he has to walk away. Cena is back on Raw. It's his 20th anniversary, and while we're due to hear from Cena later in the night, he's picked now to make his first appearance. But he isn't here to rub salt in the wound of Roman Reigns. No, he's here to congratulate him. He salutes Roman Reigns, but Reigns doesn't seem overly impressed, and he just turns away from Cena and walks to the back. Cena runs down to the ring and slides in, and of course, he sees the two championships laying in the ring, and Cena says, "You know, I was back here to celebrate 20 years, and I am, and I will, but 20 is a seriously significant number to me right now. I get that. But so is 17. The crowd rises. They know exactly what he means. John Cena currently sits at 16 World Championship wins in WWE, and it sounds like he wants to break Ric Flair's record and make it 17. Cena doesn't get much time to soak up the excitement of the crowd though, because it's then we hear the music of Riddle. Riddle comes down and he says, "John, bro, last time we were here in this ring together, we broed down. It was the best. But John, I saw how you looked at those titles, bro. That's the same way I looked at them just before I almost ripped Roman's arm off last week. But I fell short, bro. I haven't slept since. So I'm just out here to say that if you want number 17, you might have to go through me, bro." Cena's a little taken back, but he's still impressed by Riddle's forwardness, and Cena just replies simply. He says, "Maybe so, bro." With the Undisputed Championship now vacated and both Riddle and John Cena putting their name in the hat for it, Adam Pearce decides that he wants to have 2 matches at the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And the winner of each match will then face off at SummerSlam in the main event for all the gold. The first of which, obviously, is going to be John Cena versus Riddle. And the other match will be Seth Rollins and honorary Uce, Sami Zayn, who is desperate to, as he says, keep it in the family. The road to Money in the Bank is turbulent. Zayn actually has the backing of the bloodline. The Usos actually see Sami Zayn's point. They realise that even if they think Sami is a bit of a goofball, he could actually win the title and keep it warm for Roman until he returns from his injury. So they help him out at every opportunity, even going as far as softening up Rollins by brutalising him for weeks. On the other side of the coin, Cena wanted to get his chops back in the ring. He's holding open challenges every week for new opponents to keep himself sharp for the dangerous Riddle. Riddle watched on each and every single time to take notes on potential weaknesses in Cena's game. Cena would take on the likes of Owens, Lashley, and even young upstart Austin Theory in a match that was teased leading up to Cena's return. It's then we arrive at the final SmackDown before Money in the Bank, and we have a tag team contest between the 4 competitors in the big contenders matches at this event. It's Cena teaming with Zayn, taking on the team of Riddle and Rollins. And Cena, who had faced off with the Tribal Chief upon his return, is now benefiting from him in a very weird way, because the Usos have come down to ringside. Rollins, who is sick and tired of them interfering, decides to go after them, leaving Riddle 2-on-1 against Cena and Zayn. But Cena is a noble man. He says to Zayn, "This isn't how we do it. 2-on-1 isn't right. One of us needs to step off the apron and keep it 1-on-1. But as he's saying this to Zayn, who's standing on the apron, Riddle creeps up behind Cena and rolls him up and gets a shock pinfall. Riddle quickly rolls out of the ring, having taken Cena's kindness for weakness. Zayn just laughs at the situation and leaves to join the Usos' beatdown of Rollins. Riddle is standing on the outside of the ring looking at Cena, and he does a very familiar taunt. Money in the Bank kicks off with a bang. Cena versus Riddle is underway, and as you'd expect, Riddle is really pushing Cena just like he did with Reigns. Cena has Riddle up for an AA, but Riddle counters brilliantly. He hits the bro to sleep German suplex combination, and Cena is still able to kick out. Riddle locks in the bro mission, but Cena is still able to escape. The frustration is building. Riddle has Cena down and he's looking to hit the floating bro. But Cena pops up, he catches Riddle and he nails him with an AA, but he knows that he has to properly put him away. He rolls through and nails him with another. Cena is through to SummerSlam. The dream of breaking Ric Flair's record is alive. Later that night, we find out that there is a serious injury cloud hanging over Seth Rollins. Adam Pearce says that Rollins is currently being assessed by doctors. But just as he finishes saying that, we cut to a shot of Rollins who has been assaulted again. But this time it's more sinister. He's bloodied up and he's barely responsive. This has to be the work of the Usos. We then see Sami Zayn walking towards the arena. He's so confident. His music hits and he struts out in typical fashion, wearing his Bloodline shirt, and the plan is going perfectly. Zayn demands that the referee starts the match and counts Rollins out. He's screaming at the referee. He's telling him, ring the bell, do it. He's meant to be out here, but he's not. Ring the bell and count him out. But it's then we see Adam Pearce emerge, and he's not happy at all. He says, Sammy, I know you're behind this. I know this is you and the Bloodline, but I had a backup plan all along. So no, you're not facing Seth Rollins tonight. No. You're facing this man. Zayn is beside himself. He can't believe it. Orton has returned and he is back for revenge on the Bloodline. Backstage, we see John Cena watching and he is just as shocked. The match gets underway, the bell rings, Zayn rushes Orton and boom! RKO immediately. And he gets the cover. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, Orton has taken out Zayn and inserted himself into a massive main event at SummerSlam against John Cena for the Undisputed Championship. SummerSlam is on the horizon and now we know the main event. Cena versus Orton, two classic rivals, both vying to be on top of the mountain again. We find out a little bit more about Orton's motivations on Raw. He's just finished a match and he calls out Cena. He says, I have something I want to say to your face, John. And of course, Cena doesn't take long to come out. He's always up for the confrontation. He gets in the ring with Orton, and Orton gets real sinister. He says, we have history, don't we, John? Lots of it. You know who else I have history with? Ric Flair. He's been a mentor of mine for pretty much my whole career. He's been like a father figure to me, so when Pearce came to me and said I was a backup plan, you know what I did, John? I went and finished off Seth Rollins. Because not only did Rick teach me about how to be the best in this ring, he also taught me how to be ruthless. He's the dirtiest player in the game after all, isn't he? So with all that being said, John, do you really think I'd let you be the one to break his record? Do you really think I'd just stand idly by and let that happen? Hell no. So now, you're in for the fight of your life at SummerSlam, John. Because to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And you're looking right at him. The next few weeks are filled with mind games from Orton. It's a real throwback. But he's confronted backstage by Riddle about some of his actions and the fact that he assaulted Rollins, which is very out of character for him. Orton says, sometimes the urge is too strong. Sometimes the voices are too loud. Look, I respect you, Riddle. I love you like a brother, but I would advise you to keep your distance for now. And Riddle says, that's cool. Look, I get it. Just do what you gotta do, Randy. I'll always have your back. The final Raw before SummerSlam sees John Cena versus Riddle in the main event. Cena heard what Orton said about Riddle keeping his distance, so as a mind game of his own, called out Riddle for a rematch. The match is underway and Riddle again is pushing Cena. It's the perfect tune-up for Cena, but it's also a massive opportunity for Riddle. But Orton, he can't resist. He has to come down to try and mess with Cena. Orton comes out and gets on the apron. Cena sees him and runs up and knocks Orton off the apron. But the vibration of the ropes causes Riddle to fall. He's hurt and now he's on the top rope. And Cena pounces. He nails Riddle with an avalanche attitude adjustment and picks up the win. Orton immediately slides into the ring and the brawl is on. It's broken down completely. They fight all the way up the ramp and eventually get separated by WWE staff. It's heated, it's personal, it goes back years. And we are not far away from the showdown at SummerSlam. But there is one final stop, and it's SmackDown. It's Cena who wants the final word. He comes out, he grabs the mic, but before he can even speak, Flair is here. On the eve of his record potentially being broken, he shows Cena a lot of respect, and he comes out and he says, I think you've proven over the years that you are the man. And now, I want to tell you that should you break the record at SummerSlam, I'm going to personally hand you the championship. But before then, I have something for you. Cena, the dirtiest player in the game indeed. It's then we see Orton slither out from the backstage area looking very smug. It was all part of the plan. And he joins Flair in the ring, and then he stalks Cena, and boom! An RKO delivered to the 16-time champion. Orton and Flair leave the ring and leave Cena laying. They both stand on the entrance, and Flair says, there is only one man who deserves to break my record, and that's Randy. It's been an epic battle between old rivals. Everything on the line. Orton trying for his 15th World Championship and trying to stop Cena from breaking the man at ringside Ric Flair's record as well. And Flair has been keeping a close eye on the battle, but so far surprisingly hasn't interjected once. But of course, just as we think Flair is being respectful and letting the contest play out, dirtiest player in the game jumps on the apron as Cena is in the ascendancy. And Cena is fed up. He's frustrated with everything that's gone on, and he starts to remonstrate with Flair. They argue back and forth, but Orton slithers back to his feet. Cena, he senses it. He spins around. Orton tries a clothesline, but Cena ducks underneath. Orton then tries for an RKO, but Cena pushes him off and sends him straight into Flair on the apron. Flair falls to the floor. Orton is stunned by the contact and falls right into Cena's trap. He nails an AA. 1, 2, no! Orton is able to kick out. It's unbelievable. Flair is back to his feet. He can feel his record slipping away. He slides into the ring, but Cena's ready for him. An AA to Flair. Unbelievable! Flair rolls to the outside. He's down and out, but Orton, he's had time to recover. He looks for a final RKO, but Cena counters again. AA to Orton again. And just like Riddle though, he knows he needs to do more. He rolls him through and he nails a second. He falls into the cover. 1, 2, 3. And Cena has done it. Cena has broken Ric Flair's record with Ric Flair at ringside. John Cena is now a 17-time world champion. And Ric Flair begrudgingly goes over, grabs the championship, and lays it at Cena's feet. And we can finally say, once again, his time is now.